to Just Minding My Business Radio, where we are moving at the speed of God, learning what we didn't know we didn't know. I'm your host, Ida Crawford.
And I'm your co-host, Ruth Haskins.
So grab a pen and paper and get ready for information that you can use.
Welcome to the virtual studio of Just Minding My Business Media, LLC. Today, we urge anyone who is creating a business or has a business they may want to sell in the future to give special attention to our guest. Michelle Seiler Tucker is the best-selling author of the book, Sell Your Business for More Than It's Worth, and has a new book coming out called Exit Rich. As a 20-year veteran in the mergers and acquisition industry, Michelle is regarded as the leading authority on buying, selling, fixing, and growing businesses. Because of her expertise, she is featured in magazines such as Forbes, Inc. and Entrepreneur. Michelle is also an international keynote speaker and makes regular radio and TV appearances on Fox Business News and CNBC. Welcome, Michelle.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Well, I always like to know beginnings. So how did you get on this road? How did you end up here?
You know, that's a good question because I don't think I woke up one day and as a child, I don't think I said, I'm going to sell businesses for a living. But I've always been an entrepreneur. I've always been interested in businesses. And, you know, I would always, even as a child, I would always walk up to strangers and ask them questions. And so I was always curious. I was always a people person. I always had the entrepreneur spirit. I've owned many different businesses along the way. I own different businesses now. I did kind of start working. I did get caught up in corporate America. I ended up being recruited by Xerox. So I was at Xerox for about 6 months until they nicknamed me the closer. So every time somebody can close a deal, they say, well, call Michelle. She can do it. She can't do it. Nobody can. So anyway, that was my nickname, the closer. And then within those 6 months, my supervisor came to me and said, Michelle, you really should apply for the regional vice president's position. She said, you know, you're not going to get it because you've only been here for 6 months. And with Xerox, they have a minimum requirement of 2 years, plus you have everybody else applying. It's been here for 5, 10, 15 years. And I'm like, well, why in the world would I apply for something if I'm never going to get it? And she said, because the experience, you'll learn so much going through the experience. And she was right. It was a 3-month grueling process with all these high-level executives. And we had to do a round of Q&A and a round of presentations and a round of demonstrations, et cetera, and close them. And I did get it. So I guess I am the closer. So I did get it. And then I realized how much I didn't like it because I like working with people. I like building relationships that last a lifetime. I like solving problems and coming up with solutions. And when you are, you know, an upper management vice president of a region, you're in meetings to schedule follow-up meetings and go through mountains of paperwork and really not getting anything done. And I'm a results person. I like to see results, and I'm a goal-oriented person. So I just didn't like it. And, you know, no corporation should really promote their number one salesperson who they nickname a closer to upper management. So anyway, I ended up leaving Xerox and transitioning into franchise sales, franchise development, franchise consulting, sold hundreds of franchises. And I had so many clients that would always ask me, you know, Michelle, do you have any existing businesses? I don't want a franchise because franchising is not for everybody, right? So anyway, I said, you know, I'm going to transition into selling companies. So that's when I transitioned into selling businesses. First, you know, really small businesses like flower shops and restaurants and coffee shops and things of that nature. And then very quickly transitioned to selling larger businesses, typically $10 million in purchase price and up. And then I learned what Steve Forbes says is very true. That 8 out of 10 businesses do not sell. In fact, Steve Forbes endorsed, our book Exit Rich. And I learned, gosh, if I don't fix these businesses, if I don't tweak them, if I don't grow them and build them and put them on the build to sell program, I'm going to starve to death. And so that's when I really started transitioning into buying, selling, fixing, growing, which is what I specialize in. So I partner with business owners, investing my resources, my money, time, energy, effort, expertise. And I also buy businesses and flip them and sell businesses, of course, and we merge businesses together. So I've sold personally over 500 companies. My firm has done altogether, I want to say right over 1,000. And so that's kind of how I got into it, and I love it because I'm so passionate about it. What excites me so much, I'm like a kid in a candy store because I just can't wait to find out how somebody started a multi-million-dollar business on their kitchen table or in their garage. We're selling a $70 million company right now, and the owner started out of his pickup truck and he has an 8th grade education. I just love stuff like that because I love entrepreneurship. And I think, I think entrepreneurship is still alive and well. Hopefully it remains that way.
Absolutely.
So that's how I got started.
That is awesome because a lot of times a new business, they don't think about selling. They're so focused on building. So why is it important when you're building to think about the day you want to sell?
The number one ingredient is planning your exit strategy. I call it the GPS exit model from day one of buying or starting your business. And the reason for that, Ida, is because one of the number one reasons that businesses don't sell is because they don't think about it. They don't think about it till a catastrophic event occurs. That could be an internal catastrophic event like health issues, divorce, death, partner disputes, COVID. And when you have an external or an internal event occur, your business is not doing well. Your business is trending downward. And the best time to sell your business is in its prime. So all business owners really should plan what I'll call the GPS exit model that we really point out in the book Exit Rich.
Okay. So let's talk about the book.
Okay.
Before we get started on the book, I just wanted to read some of the excerpts that we have here from people who have commented about your work. This one is from Brian Tracy, author, speaker, and consultant. He's well known. And he says, this practical book is loaded with proven strategies and techniques you can apply immediately to sell your business at a higher price than you may have thought possible. And another one from Les Brown, if you don't program yourself, life will program you. In Exit Rich, Sharon Lechter and Michelle Seiler Tucker will help you program the greatest success for your business and maximize its sales value. And there was one more from, where is he? Jack Canfield. As a best-selling author, I know books. Exit Rich is a must-read if you want to build a successful business and scale with the end and beyond in mind. In Exit Rich, you'll receive priceless golden nuggets and the crucial 6 Ps you need to launch, scale, and sell a successful business. So from there, go for it, Michelle.
Those are some great endorsements, huh?
Yes, absolutely fabulous endorsement.
Absolutely.
And we got Steve Forbes, who also endorsed the book, plus Kevin Harrington, who is the original Shark from Shark Tank, endorsed the book. I would tell you, my favorite is Les Brown. I just love him. He was on my podcast about 2 months ago, and it was supposed to be 30 minutes. I think we went an hour and a half.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then my co-author, I just want to talk about her really quickly. Sharon Lechter wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad with Robert Kiyosaki. And so she's a New York Times bestselling author 5 times. She is also a CPA, a financial literacy expert, and she's been the advisor to many different presidents, including President Obama. So she adds a mentoring chapter after each one of my chapters. So I'll have a chapter and then she has the mentor. It's called the mentoring's corner, not a chapter, a corner. And so Sharon's been very instrumental in, really adding her perspective with her life experiences. And she's been extremely successful. And her husband is an intellectual property attorney. So we really have him add his 2 cents too, especially when we're talking about proprietary, which is one of the P's. So yeah, so we can kind of start at the GPS exit model because I think that's a good place to start, because like I said, the number one reason that business owners can't sell their business is because they haven't built a business that somebody actually wants to buy. Many business owners create a job, and they have built a job for themselves in which to go to work to every day, not a business that actually works for them. I have a dentist who's been in practice for 45 years. He wants to sell 1 dentist, 3 dental hygienists, and he doesn't want to stay. So that business is not sellable because once the dentist is gone, the patients are gone. Okay. So the GPS exit model is all about mindset, and it's all about getting business owners to think about their business differently, to really think about your business as an asset, not as your baby. And many business owners are like, this is my baby. No, your baby's name is Cynthia. Not the name of your business. Your baby's name is Ruth or Ida. The business name is not your baby. So we really work with our clients to emotionally detach from their business, because your business is your biggest asset. So you want to plan for your biggest asset, because, a lot of business owners are like, well, I never plan on selling. Well, yeah, you may never plan on selling, but listen, life happens. Things happen. I had a sweet little old lady call me a couple months ago, and her husband dropped dead from a heart attack. And she said, he left me with a mountain of debt. I don't know anything about the business, and I have all this debt. What do we do? I go, well, let me try to sell it for you. So I started asking her all these questions. He had a construction business, subcontractors, no employees, no processes, no nothing. He had nothing to sell. So business owners really need to think not just about themselves and their business, but more importantly, think about your loved ones. Think about your family. Think about how to set them up for success if something was to happen to you. So I always teach my business owners, let's follow the GPS exit model. So when you want to drive somewhere, what do? What's the first thing you do? We pull out our phone, right? There's my cute little daughter in there. We pull out our phone. We plug in our destination. The GPS doesn't know where to take us unless we plug in our destination, where we want to go. Otherwise, we're just going to drive around in circles. Same thing with a business. Most business owners have no idea where the destination is. They haven't planned their end game, their desired sales price. So they're just driving around in circles up and down the financial hills. So I work with my clients to say, okay, what's your end game? Let's just pick a number, any number. Let's say you want to sell for $15 million. Great. There's a number. You might hit it. You might not. But it's the start of a plan. Now, what does the GPS model need to know? It needs to know your current location. Where are you starting from? Current location means your evaluation, what your business is worth today in the STGPS exit model. So let's say you're worth $5 million and you want to sell for $15 million. Do you know, Ida and Ruth, that humans go to the doctor and we get checkups, right? We get annual checkups to make sure we're okay. We drive our car into the shop to make sure we get an annual checkup on our car. But most business owners have never had a business evaluation. They have no idea what their business is worth. Businesses should have a business evaluation every single year, because there are events that increase the valuation and there are events that decrease the valuation. COVID is a perfect example of that. That is decreased the valuation in the hospitality industry, but it's increased the valuation in healthcare. All right. So you want to know what that business is worth, what your business is worth every year. So we have our end game, 15 million. We have our current location, current evaluation, 5 million. Now we need to know time frame. So let's say we want to do that in 10 years. Seems reasonable. Now what do we need to know? Who's our buyers going to be? There's 5 types of buyers. I'll tell you who your buyers are not going to be. So probably a first-time buyer. First-time buyer is not going to be able to afford a $15 million company, or a turnaround specialist, because turnaround specialists buy distressed assets. So it's going to be a private equity group, strategic/competitor buyer who buys synergies, or a sophisticated entrepreneur who chases cash flow. So then you need to know, okay, where does the financials need to be? For me to sell for $15 million, where's my gross revenue need to be? Where's my EBITDA? EBITDA is earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, amortization. To sell for $15 million, you need to have your EBITDA around $2 to $3 million. And then you need to know, well, what's the buyer's characteristics? What is the buyer's synergies? What does the buyer looking for? And then that's how we take it one step further and say buyers buy synergies and buyers buy businesses that operate on the 6 Ps, which we'll get into in a second. And then the last ingredient in the GPS exit model is the why. Why? do you want to sell a business for $15 million? If it was easy to sell a business for $15 million, we would all just run out there and do it. So you have to have a strong, powerful why to keep you motivated, to keep you in the game, to keep you weathering all these different financial storms. So that's the GPS exit model. Then we work with our clients to build their business on the 6 Ps. Any questions there?
Wow, that was quite a bit. I definitely have to get the book because this is a reference. You will have to continuously look at it and dissect it. But I'm really, really enjoying what you're talking about. So before we go to the P's, how do people get the book?
Good question. Thanks for asking me. So you can buy it on Amazon, but I would encourage everybody to buy it at exitrichbook.com because it's less expensive than Amazon. So at exitrichbook.com, you can buy the book for $24.79. The book is launching in June, but you don't have to wait till June. You can buy it today. We will email you the digital download immediately. And then we will send the hardcover to your doorstep to anyone in the United States. Plus, we will give you a lifetime membership to the Exit Rich Book Club, where we have video training of me going into 10, these different techniques, strategies, content. Plus, what we have that's really valuable are documents. So a lot of business owners are like, well, I've never seen a non-compete, Michelle, or I don't know what a policy, excuse me, a policy and procedure manual looks like, or I want to sell my business, but I never seen an LOI before, or a purchase agreement, or due diligence checklist or closing docs. These documents will cost over $25,000 to create. They're there for your review and your download. Plus, we also invite you to a 30-day free membership to Club CEOs, which is a mastermind where we do hot seats and Q&As and things of that nature to where we can really help business owners survive, come on the other side of this pandemic, thrive, so they too can exit rich. That's exitrichbook.com.
That is an awesome offer. This is really an important topic. And like you said, most businesses don't think about the exit strategy. And
they don't. Mm-hmm.
So many people have started businesses in this COVID-19, and certainly they're thinking more of survival. That's their where they are now. Mm-hmm. But what you're saying is now is the time to really take a look at where you want your business to go, what you want it to sell for, and how you're going to get it there. So this is valuable information.
Yeah.
Yes, because Exit Rich is not all about selling. It's really about building a sustainable business versus a job, a sustainable business that works for you rather than you working for it, and a scalable business so that when you're ready, you will actually have a sellable asset and you won't end up in the 80% of businesses that are not sellable. So you really should build it from the beginning because it's much easier. It's kind of like a house. If you don't build the right foundation, if you don't build a solid foundation, then your entire house can come crashing down on you, right? If you don't put the right infrastructure in. Same thing with a business. So it's better to build that business from the ground up with the right infrastructure so that it's solid and it can handle the growth. So many business owners just want to focus on sales. And sales are great. Don't get me wrong. You have to have sales or you have no business. But if you don't have the infrastructure to support the growth, you won't be sustainable for long.
Exactly. Now, real quickly, a lot of people build a business like a legacy kind of thing, mm-hmm. where they want to pass it on to their children. Mm-hmm. What is your thoughts on that and preparing your children?
So my thoughts is it's a great thought. And back in the day, it was prevalent that business owners would pass their business on from generation to generation to generation. That's how it was. But it's not like that anymore. Nowadays children don't want our business. They want to go out there and create their own masterpiece. And they don't always want to follow in mommy and daddy's footsteps. So, it's a great thought. It's a great plan if your children want your business, but that's happening less than 10% of the time now. Less than 10%. So you can't rely upon that. I mean, I'm growing my daughter up in my business. She's 10, but I don't know if she's going to want it. This M&A is not easy. It's not for everybody. So, that you really have to have, that can't be a whole plan. So that can maybe be part of your plan. But if your children don't want your business, then you need to look at something else. So there's different ways to exit, and passing on to generation is one way. Another way is called an ESOP, where you sell to your employees. And that's probably less than 10% of business owners, or less than 5% of business owners actually do that. And then another way to exit your business is really to keep your business and get management to run it, or to sell a percentage of it, or to sell 100%. And most business owners rather sell a percentage of it, like 60, 70, 80%. And a lot of buyers, by the way, that seems to be, their preference these days is to buy percentage versus buy 100%, because they want to keep the owner involved, especially on the larger type businesses.
So let's talk about the P's. I'm taking plenty of notes here, so Miss Michelle.
Thank you. So I came up with the P's after during my 20 years of being in the trenches with business owners and running my own companies. And the first P, the number one reason that businesses don't sell, other than that business owners don't plan their exit, is that the business owner is attached to the business. I told you about that sweet little old lady that called me. Business was not sellable because the owner was the business. I told you about the dentist, not sellable because the dentist is the business. Right? So people is very important. You don't build a business, you build people, and the people build the business for you and with you. Mm-hmm. And business owners have to focus on their strengths and hire their weaknesses. And you have to have the right people in the right seats. And you really have to ask the who question. Who opens the door? Who deals with client services? Who deals with marketing? Who deals with legal issues, accounting, manufacturing, transportation, logistics, environmental? The list goes on the who. The clue here, Ida, is that you should never put you next to the who. So you want the business to run without you. And that's the only way to really get the business to run without you, is to do the who exercise. And if you're trying to sell a business for $1 million, $2 million, you need to have a management team in place, right? Mm-hmm. So the whole purpose of trying to build, even if you never ever sell your business, it doesn't really matter, because here's why. If you build a business that can operate without you, then you have something that's sustainable and scalable, and you can take off and go to the Bahamas for 6 months out of the year, go wherever you want, travel the world, right? You'll have a much better business, and it'll be a lot more profitable. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So Exit Rich is all about putting the foundation in place so that your business can operate without you. It can be successful, and it can be a lot more profitable. And then when you are ready to sell it, because look, nothing stays the same, right? We're either growing or we're dying, and what comes up must come down, unfortunately. You really, so P is one of the most important ones. The second P, so people's number one, product is number two. Now, product, Ruth, can be your industry, right? So you want to ask yourself, is your product, your industry on the way up or on the way out? Is it thriving or dying? Do you have an Amazon and you're up here in your prime, or do you have a Blockbuster and you're dying? So a lot of industries, unfortunately, are dying right now because of COVID. And there's a lot of industries that are, at the best of their game because of COVID. So it just really depends on what industry you're in. But let's say you're in a dying industry. That doesn't mean you pack up and go home. That means that you just have to do things differently, and maybe align yourself with an advisor, an expert, somebody who can help you see things more clearly. Because I always say, when you're in your fog, it's foggy. So you need an outsider's perspective. And I always say, when you're struggling, ask yourself these 3 transformational questions. And Amazon did this back in the 90s. Ask yourself, what business are you in? Amazon asked that, and they said, we're in the book selling business. We sell books. And then the second question is, what do we do really, really, really well? And Amazon said, we do fulfillment really well, probably better than anyone. And then the third most important question is, what business should you be in? So Amazon said we should be in a fulfillment business. Do you know that if Amazon went and asked themselves those 3 questions, they'd probably still be a book selling company? Those 3 questions transformed them into a multi-billion-dollar worldwide conglomerate that they are today. Just because somebody is in a restaurant business and they're not doing well, there's so many different things you can do as a restaurant owner where you can keep your business afloat. Mm-hmm. So that's product.
Okay.
And then the third P is processes. Processes are very important. It's kind of like your exit strategy, but most business owners never think about processes, just like they don't think about exit strategy until something happens. Like, I'm working with a client right now, and they had a catastrophic event occur on their manufacturing floor. And I go, oh, we need a health and safety process for that. I go, well, you really needed one before. Where was it before? And then, I have another company where they had, oh my gosh, they've had some customer service issues. So the customers went and just bashed them all over the internet. And now they're not getting any business. And they're like, well, we need a customer service policy. And I go, you should have had one before. So you really need to design your processes from the beginning of starting or buying a company. And of course, your processes get tweaked along the way, but the processes should be designed with the customer experience in mind. So processes should be designed from the beginning, and they should be designed with the customer experience in mind. Have you ever dealt with a company, and no matter where you go, let's say they have multiple locations, and no matter where you go, the experience is the same, and it's a pretty good experience. McDonald's comes to mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever dealt with a company where it's just the opposite,
Yes.
and the process is terrible? And at the end of dealing with him, you're like, oh my God, I don't want to ever do business with this company again.
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yeah.
All right. So big difference, right? McDonald's formulated a processes back in 1940. And their process was designed around the customer experience. They said, we want our customers to get great tasting food that's hot and fast, 2 minutes or less. They never said we want it to be healthy for you. They never said any of that. They never said we're going to be organic. They said if we want it to taste good, you're going to get it 2 minutes or less. They designed their processes around that customer experience. So you can eat at McDonald's anywhere in the world and still receive the same experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have companies, like if you ever try getting through to a bank or a social media company and you can't, and those processes are designed for the opposite. They're designed to create an inferior experience and really upset the client. You want to make sure your processes are designed with the customer experience in mind. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Very much
And so, because if you're not creating happy clients, if you're not, servicing your clients and creating happy client experiences, your competitor will. So you want to make sure to design with the customer experience in mind, efficient, productive, and well documented. Buyers will come in and want to see your policy and procedure manuals and your SOP checklist, standard operating procedures. So the next four, any questions so far before I move on to number 4?
Got it. People, product, and processes.
And number 4 is the highest value driver of all the P's, and that's proprietary. Proprietary can take you from getting 4 times EBITDA. EBITDA is earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, amortization, to getting maybe an 8 times EBITDA. So proprietary, there's 6 pillars of proprietary. I'll run through them really quickly. But proprietary are those synergies that buyers are willing to pay more money for. Number 1 is branding. How well branded are you? The more well branded your company is, the more money I can sell it for, as long as the brand is still relevant in the mind of the consumers. For instance, Blockbusters. Anybody can pay any money for Blockbuster? No, because they went out, but people will still pay money for Toys R Us.
Mm-hmm.
So the biggest brand in the world, the most valuable brand in the world is Apple. Apple is worth $249 billion with a B just for their brand. That's not including assets and inventory and real estate and cash flow and everything else. Okay. So brands are very valuable. Trademarks. These are your company names, your company slogan, the name of your podcast. But here's a caveat to trademarks. Most business owners make the mistake of saying, okay, I'm opening up a business in California. I'll go get a trademark for that in the state of California. But then they never check the federal database. And you could be operating in business 5, 10, 15 years, all of a sudden receive a cease and desist letter. And that says you have to stop using that company name because somebody owns a federal trademark and it's not you.
Oh.
Now you can hire an attorney, you can spend a lot of money, but you're probably going to lose. And then you'd have to close up and start business all over again under a different branding name and build that brand all over. So go and spend the $1,500 and get a federal trademark on your podcast, on your business, on anything that's unique to you. Protect your IP. Same thing with some products. Like we're selling an agriculture business and they have a huge product line and they have lots of trademarks that are exclusive to different retail chain stores. Patents are very important. You watch Shark Tank?
Mm-hmm.
Every investor asks every inventor on that show what questions. Do you have a patent?
Yes. Do you have a patent?
Do you have a patent pending? Contracts are very valuable. Manufacturing contracts, distribution contracts, a franchisor who has franchisees, network marketing, network marketing company that has all their downlines. Client contracts are the most valuable of all because buyers want to buy a business that's operating in cash flow, positive cash flow, and recurring revenue is very valuable. So if you have recurring revenue, if you have subscription model, that's extremely valuable. Also, but here's a caveat to contracts though. Make sure you have the 2-sentence transferability clause. Because if you don't have that 2-sentence transferability clause in your asset, 99.9% of all sales are asset sales, not stock sales, and the client won't agree to transfer, your deal could fall apart. So just add the 2-sentence transferability clause.
Mm-hmm.
The fifth thing that's really important in IP is databases. You could be losing money, but if you have a lot of users, we could still sell your company. Facebook paid $19 billion for WhatsApp, and WhatsApp was hemorrhaging money. But WhatsApp had 1 billion users. That was a synergy that Facebook wanted to purchase. They knew they could ROI and they knew they could monetize that purchase. Also, celebrity endorsements. Let's say you have a skincare line and you're on Oprah's favorite things and Oprah has endorsed you. Do you know how much money that's worth? A lot. Because let's say there's a competitor or strategic that has similar products that wants to get their products in front of Oprah. They're going to pay a lot more money for your company. Same thing if you have any type of e-commerce business whatsoever, and you have a good placement on Wayfair or Etsy or Amazon. Those are all value drivers that will get you a much higher multiple for the sale of your business. So that's proprietary. Build your proprietary asset and you will build the value of your company. And then number 5 is Patreons. So Patreons is your customer base. Most business owners follow the 80-20 rule, where 80% of their revenue comes from 20% of their clients. If they lose a few clients, they could be in big trouble. I once sold an advertising marketing company. Well, actually, I ended up merging it because they were doing $10 million in gross revenues, $10 million in gross revenues. And they have 5 clients because they cater to casinos. We were going to sell them for way over $10 million. They lost 2 clients in the process. Their revenues dropped in half. It's very important to have customer diversification rather than customer concentration. And then the last P, the most important P that you guys have been so patient for. And that P is profits. Yeah. Everybody's in business to make money. However, profits are never the problem. I have clients that come to me all the time and say, Michelle, I have a profit problem. And I look at their business and I'm like, nope, you have a people problem. Or nope, you have a process problem. Or you have a proprietary problem because you didn't protect your proprietary. Or you have, patrons problem because you have customer concentration. You just lost your biggest client. If you are operating in all 5 Ps, you will never, ever have a profit problem. Lack of profits are not the problem. They're the symptom of missing one of the 5 Ps.
Okay.
Okay.
Makes sense. A lot of sense.
Yeah, because everything works towards profits.
Right. And that's why I put profits last. People are like, why do you put profits last? I'm like, because you need all this to get to the profits. Everybody just wants to jump and get sales, and sales are great, but sales are not sustainable unless you build this foundation.
Wow. So we all have a lot to think about.
A lot to digest.
Yes. And it means we all need to go get this book.
Yes, it does, Ruth. Thank you. AccenRichBook.com.
And yes, give it to us again. How can people get this book and all the little goodies that come with it?
Sure. They can go to exitrichbook.com, and they can get the book for $24.79. We will email them the digital download immediately so they don't have to wait. And then when the book is launched in June, we'll send it to their doorstep, hardcover to their doorstep. That $24.79 includes shipping. Plus, you get all the content and all the document review and document downloads. All the documents you need to run your business or sell your business is at the Exit Rich Book Club that you will gain access to. Plus, you get the plus that's a $25,000 value. Plus, we will give you 30 days into Club CEOs, which is our mastermind that we put together to help entrepreneurs ask the right questions. What business are you and what business should you be in?
Mm-hmm. Those are pretty powerful questions. One
that
us don't even think about.
Right. And it's always, have you ever heard before? You can always tell the smartest person in the room by the person who asks the best questions. And sometimes it's just in our business. We stop asking questions because we become so transactional that we start becoming transformational. And it's in this questioning where you become transformational. And that's where you can really transform your business to the next level. Transactional, you're just doing a day-to-day. And that's what happens to business owners, that they get so caught up in the day-to-day. They're so busy, tending to their business, tending to their families, that they don't really have the time to really do some of this thinking. You really have to think about this stuff.
We don't give ourselves time to more or less meditate on our business, because when your business is not prospering, you've missed something.
Yes, you miss one of those P's when you're not prospering.
Yeah, you missed one of those P's.
That's right. You missed all the P's probably. So, and it's important too to have a good mentor, a good advisor, a good support group, of entrepreneurs, because, people that are successful want to help other people become successful. I don't know if you've heard, your network equals your net worth.
Yes.
But if you want to be truly successful, hang out with other successful people. Find out what they're doing. What are they doing? How are they doing it? Just like I always tell people, when you really want to learn, don't necessarily just learn in your industry. Go to some of the biggest brands out there like Disney. What does Disney do? What does the Ritz-Carlton do? And emulate some of the things that they do. You don't have to just stay in your same industry to get great transformational ideas.
Okay. I heard something else you said that was very interesting. You said that you have your daughter. She's 10 years old and she is involved in your business. Can you give us just a snippet of what that looks like?
Yes.
And why it's important?
Yes. So she's obviously not as involved as I'd like her to be. She's in school. I did do a homeschool for a year, and that just did not work out very well for us because she's a people person. She misses her friends, But I bring her to my office all the time. I teach her about money. When she wants something, I teach her about, the importance of money and how you have to earn money. And you can't just have what you want. And then I also teach her about the importance of giving back, because, you can't just have another toy without taking a toy and giving it to somebody who doesn't have anything. So I teach her about entrepreneurship. I teach her about starting different businesses, getting her thinking, how can you make money? Yes, you're 10, but what can you do? Mm-hmm. And, she's a little computer whiz. I think it's just really having that dialogue with our children, to teach them, like Rich Portat, to teach them, yes, you can go to school, yes, get a good education. But what problems exist that you could solve? Even at that young age at 10, there are problems that she can solve, right? Mm-hmm. And what can she invent, and how can she make her own money? Really think about, if you really want something, you have to go out there and do the work to earn it, or you have to create something to earn it, but you can't just have everything you want. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So I bring her to my office and I get her involved in the office, and sometimes she answers the phone. So I'm like, oh gosh, who's calling? So, but I get her involved. I show her what we do, and, really try to get her involved. She knows everybody who works here. She loves everybody who works here. She cannot have a phone right now because she's only 10. So I have an extra phone, and she constantly texts everybody in my office and asks them what they're doing and what they're working on. So I think just involve them early on. and teach them about money and teach them about value and teach them about the importance of giving back.
Excellent.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Michelle, this has been educational, fun, all of it. So again, how can people get Exit Rich?
So they can go to Exit Rich Book. Make sure you put the book in there. You got to go to exitrichbook.com and $24.79. We'll send you the digital download immediately. Then we'll ship the hardcover to your doorstep. Plus, you get a lifetime membership into the Exit Rich Book Club, where you get all the video content plus all the documents. Those documents have so much value and would cost over $25,000 if you tried to get an attorney to create them, because they're real closing docs. They're real purchase agreements, real due diligence checklist, and, real documents to run your business. And then we have the mastermind that we want everyone to participate in, because it really is truly my passion and mission to help as many business owners as I can save their business and exit rich when they're ready.
All righty now. Well, we definitely enjoyed this conversation with you, and we're looking forward to more. And thank you so much for blessing our audience with this great knowledge, as well as Ruth and I, and we truly appreciate. So definitely, ladies and gentlemen, get the book. This is just a taste of what's in the book.
And the book, like I said, is a step-by-step blueprint, of what to do and how to do it. And then I encourage everybody to text Michelle to 888 let's see if I can see this without my glasses. 888-526-5750. And then all my social media pops up along with all my websites, and follow me on social media.
Yes.
So thank you, ladies, for having me.
Thank
It was
you.
fun being here. Thank you so much.
Your business through Just Minding My Business Media has exposure on internet radio, major social media platforms, and now TV. Through Just Minding My Business, dynamic digital marketing platform. Don't listen to the word on the street. Hear it for yourself. Visit jmb.assistercircle.org to learn how you can take your business, your vision, to the next level. Voiceovers by RCH VoiceWorks, for when you want to be heard. Call 443-620-4115.
Thank you for tuning in to Just Minding My Business Radio. I'm your host, Ida Crawford.
And I'm your co-host, Ruth Haskins.
We hope you enjoyed the show and appreciate you stopping by. Many blessings to you and yours.